A Russian-backed proxy court in the Ukrainian region of Donetsk has charged 5 foreign nationals with being mercenaries fighting alongside the Ukrainian army. Russian media say 3 of the men could face the death penalty. Moscow says its defense minister has spoken by phone to the head of the UN, Antonio Guterres, about the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in Ukraine. The area is currently under Russia's control. Moscow and Kyiv accuse each other of shelling the site.
Now, a Russian-backed court in the Ukrainian region of Donetsk has charged 5 foreign nationals with being mercenaries fighting alongside the Ukrainian army.
Russian media is reporting that 3 of the men, a Briton, a Croatian and a Swedish man, could face the death penalty. Well, our correspondent Hugo Pachega is in Kyiv for us this morning. Morning, Hugo. What might happen to these men?
Good morning. So the trial is expected to resume in October. We understand from Russian media that 3 of them, including John Harden, could face the death penalty. We understand John was captured while fighting in the city of Mariupol along the Azov regiment in that southern city of Ukraine. And 2 other British nationals, Dylan Healy and Andrew Hill, have also been charged, but so far, according to those reports, we understand that they do not face possible execution. We saw pictures yesterday of these men in a cage during those proceedings. The session was held behind closed doors, and again, this is a breakaway region in the east of Ukraine. Foreign governments do not recognize the legitimacy of these trials, and again, it's not the first time that foreign nationals are being accused of being mercenaries. These are accusations that friends and relatives deny, reject, but so far governments have refused to engage and negotiate with these authorities in this so-called Donetsk People's Republic.
Hugo, we've heard, haven't we, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calling on tough new sanctions for Russia to be imposed because of ongoing tensions surrounding Europe's largest nuclear plant. Now, what's prompted this?
Yeah, Sally, for days we've been talking about tensions around this nuclear facility in the south of Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine trading accusations of who is to blame for shelling this complex. The Ukrainians accuse Russian forces of essentially turning this nuclear facility into a military base, using it to launch attacks against Ukrainian targets, perhaps knowing that the Ukrainians are unlikely to retaliate. The Russians reject those accusations. They say Russian troops are there protecting the facility. And yesterday night, President Zelensky accused Russia of nuclear blackmail, urged countries to impose more sanctions on Moscow. And there have been growing calls for the creation of a demilitarized zone, or even for international monitors to be allowed into this complex. But so far, we haven't seen any suggestion, any indication that a deal is likely to be reached anytime soon.
Hugo, thank you.
Well, while fighting continues in some parts of Ukraine and could do for many months, even years yet, some efforts are already underway to repair some of the damage.
Alice Key reports on the deadly devices hidden across the country.
On hands and knees, looking for landmines in a field outside Kyiv. It is meticulous work. Sticks mark the spot, the soil carefully cut away. A mine is unearthed. Close by, a reminder of what's at stake. This van drove over an anti-tank mine. The driver lost both his legs.
It's a massive scale given the nature of the conflict, and it's very difficult to put estimates on how long. There's a huge work ahead, and we're talking years, maybe decades, to clear Ukraine. What we see at Halo is the impact on the local level.
The Ukrainian government says nearly a third of the country, some 116,000 square miles, is contaminated by explosives. They predict it could take a decade to mark the land as safe. When Princess Diana stepped into a minefield in Angola, the world was paying attention. She was accused of being too political by calling for a landmine ban.
I'm only trying to highlight a problem that's going on all around the world.
She didn't live to see the legacy of her work, but just 3 months after her death, an international treaty to ban landmines was introduced. It was eventually signed by 164 countries. And the land she once stood on eventually became part of a city. Her son would retrace her steps 22 years later. Alice Key, BBC News.